Yeah. All right.
We'll talk about our day.
Yeah. All right. There it is for YouTube and live for the podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. What up, ladies and gentlemen?
Just you and me today. No guest on the show today.
Well, to be fair, we were guests today.
We were guests today. That was a lot of fun, actually.
That was a lot of fun.
Hell of a lot of fun.
It's rare that we get to do
big
that
shout out,
stuff.
big thank you to Francisco Pancho Lopez over at Booze Over Business for hosting us today. We absolutely had a blast. Got to dig into a little bit of our story, which is a change of pace, definitely. Big shout outs to everybody that we talked about on the show, especially mom and dad.
Yep.
Love you guys.
Love you. I mean, guidance.
Late on our... I mean, let's be honest. We wouldn't be
Usual time,
who
but that's
and
because
where
we
we
were-
are without them.
No, 100%. Well, let's talk about our entire day, because today's been one of those days where it was one thing after another, and we didn't get to finish out the day the way we wanted to. It's just time kind of ran out.
Sorry
on us.
about that, everybody.
But we went first. We met with a couple new to be venture partners.
Oh
right?
yeah, we got something else we're working on.
We got something really cool that we're working on. I don't want to spill too many details, but
one thing that I will say about it is that it is something that is meant to empower the Hispanic community.
Yes.
So
To
be on the lookout.
Yeah, basically, we sat down. We went to what I always forget the name. The University Club.
University Club.
Right.
Never been there, by the way.
Yeah, it's a very nice place. And by the way, if you ever get invited to the University Club, there is a dress code.
Yep.
So make sure you wear a sports coat or collared shirt, dress shoes. Well, first and foremost, right? Didn't know. Now I know.
Yeah, Nan showed up with his Eastlake Letterman's jacket, and our camera guy, Claudio, showed up with flip-flops, and
He wasn't allowed in.
Nan got to stay, but Claudio
didn't.
did not. So sorry about that, Claudio, for making you waste your time to come over there.
Yeah. Well,
Could have warned you ahead of time.
I didn't know. So
Neither did I. I just, top of the Symphony Towers, University Club. I was like, ooh, let me throw on a jacket.
sounds nice.
Sounds fancy, yeah.
I was more thinking about, dude, this is a great opportunity that we're gonna go talk about with our peeps, and I'm more excited about the proposition that's happening, that how many people get to benefit from what we're gonna be doing, and I didn't even think about dress code. I just thought, look, let's go talk about this. And so, we met, and it was a great experience. We know
Super, yep.
we have a good opportunity for us. So, I will say this. If there's anyone out there that is going through a situation where maybe you need to convert a garage into a living quarters, you want to maybe add a granny flat, you have parents that are going to come live with you, or you need to go live with your parents, one or the other, and you're thinking of somehow getting that done, or you're looking for a property that needs to get that done, hit me up, 619-884-0004, or sorry, 4915, 619-884-4915, and I'd love to sit and talk with you. This is one of those great opportunities that we can sit down and talk about. So as I get more details, we'll definitely be talking about this particular program, because it is amazing. It's a win-win for everybody in this particular program that we're going to be doing. And we're going to focus our attention primarily with the Hispanic community, because, hey, let's face it, that's where we're starting. That's where we come from. So
that's right.
That's where we're going to be helping out to begin with. But it really works for pretty much anybody in that particular situation, in that demographic.
So again, if you or someone you know is in a situation where a parent needs to come live with them, already lives with them, or if there's a situation where you need to convert a garage or add another dwelling unit somewhere on your property, get in touch with us. 619-884-4915 to reach out to Hernan, 619-884-0045 to reach out to me. But also on that note, speaking of helping others, we want to remind everybody sitting back there behind Hernan, you see some shoes. Please, we're still looking for 365 pairs, and we want to get those out to the community as soon as possible. Big shout out to everybody who has already provided shoes. Who we have? We had Courtney. We had Courtney Cameron. We had
a number of people. Most recently, Heather brought some shoes too.
Heather, yep.
So, I mean, and it was good. It was good.
Yep.
By the way, so after we finished that event, it was kind of cool because the ARIA event was going down just a few feet away. And so we got to pop on by really quick and say hi to a bunch of people that we've had on the podcast, people that we haven't had on the podcast but will be in sometime in the future. It was kind of cool to see some familiar faces. What did you think of that event?
Again, same thing. Cool to see familiar faces. Big shout out to Eric Ty. Eric Ty was sitting out there up front, and he's like, "Hey, I recognize you guys. Love your show, etc." And it was just cool to meet someone who we haven't met on the podcast yet, but is someone who does actually listen to the show.
Yeah, and we get to meet them in person, so it's really cool.
Yep,
really cool.
Exactly.
All right, so last night, for those of you who were able to make it, and for those of you who weren't, we were with Ricky Vaza at Liberty Station, and we had a developing your investment strategy session. So much great information out there. I mean, we talked. These are the types of topics that really tickle my fancy, right? I love to talk about personal financial planning, getting you, first of all, to understand that you have to have a goal and an end game in mind, right? First and foremost, and then helping you map out a way to get there. So I want to give a shout out to Ricky for putting on a great event. His presentation was really well done. You can tell that he has a lot of excitement for that particular topic, that he really wants to help his clients get from point A to point Z. When I go to events like this, oftentimes there's rarely a time now, just because of the history of what I've been doing this for such a long time, that there's something new that catches my ear, right? Something that I'm going to learn that I didn't know before as far as strategy is concerned. But what Ricky did really well was simplify the information in a way that people could understand. So when he talked about having an investment, or when he talked about, the process and how investment advisors tend to complicate things, I really liked how he clarified the process. He made it into basically, I'm just going to break down the two simple ways of the investment that he did. Actually, all four sections. So he talked about having a time horizon. So thinking about how old are you today? How old do you want to work? How long, many years do you want to work for? When you do finally stop working, I like how he didn't want to use retirement. He's more like where working is an option. How many years until that happens? And then how long does your money have to last for you? So one thing was time, right? And then he basically had three other sections, which was investments that generate income and investments that are appreciation based. Those are the two ways that you're going to put money away so that you have money in the future for retirement. And I like the simplicity of that. He didn't go into, well, you can invest in whole life insurance. You can invest into fixed index annuities. You can do, traditional versus Roth or self-directed IRAs or all these other things, HSAs. Did he talk about those a little bit? Yes, he talked about those once we were asking questions. But the presentation of getting yourself to have a plan and getting from point A to point Z was very simply put. It's either you buying investments that spit money out, which is income based, or you're buying investments that are going to grow over time, which are appreciation based. And those were two simple concepts that people could understand. What kind of investment do I have? Does it spit out cash? Cool, that's an income based. Does it grow in value? Cool, that's an appreciation based. And then the last thing he talked about was, well, what's pumping the brakes, right? What's stopping you from accumulating wealth, whether it's appreciation or whether it's income based? And it has to do with taxes, right? So taxes are going to be one of those. I think he called it friction, if I remember.
Friction, yep.
Right? Things that are stopping you from getting to the end. So if you ever get a chance, he puts these events on, I think, once a month or once a quarter. We'll let you guys know when he has the next one. I really, really advise you to go out and just sit. It's like a 40-minute presentation. There's no pitch. He's not telling you to, buy with me. Although, of course, he'd love it if, you wanted to sit down and have a consultation with him. But it's not a pitch. It's giving you information. And that's one of the reasons why I really like what Ricky's doing, because he's doing what we do for you on a daily basis. We just want to bring you value, right? We want to give you stuff that you don't know about, stuff that maybe you thought you understood a little bit, try to bring you a little more clarity. But essentially every day we want to bring you value, something that you're learning from, whether you're learning directly from us or whether you're learning from a guest that we bring on the show. But we want to bring you value each and every day, so that the 30 minutes that you give up to us, we're bringing you more value in return, right? You're not wasting your time, you're investing your time with us. And we're hoping that you grow as an individual, you grow as an entrepreneur, you grow as, a salesperson, you grow as an individual, so that every time you learn from somebody on the show, you're growing as, you're learning from them, and you don't have to make the same mistakes that they've made. Because we were on Poncho's show today, and we got to really dig deep into our history, into our past, into where we came from. If you guys ever want to know, by the way, start at episode 1, right? Yep. For us, and we'll tell you our entire story, where we came from. But there's a lot of wealth of knowledge that we have because we've been in business for so long. We've tried a bunch of different businesses out. Some businesses that were super successful, some businesses that weren't, some businesses that we decided that maybe this is not the route we want to do because we became self-employed, not business owners. So, having all that information, and if you're out there listening to our show, the best thing you can do is listen to the advice, look at your own, what's going on in your own business, and decide which pieces of advice are applicable to you, right? If I bring on a guy that, we just had Mr. Loyal Fiel, he's the clothing designer guy. He's in the infancy part of his business, but he's got a great brand, mm-hmm. right? Those are steps that you might be in your business. You might be a new realtor that just got your license and you're ready to rock and roll, and maybe you're considering a brokerage. Well, you can listen to the different information that we give you on EXP, or we also ask agents that come on the show to describe what goes on in their brokerage. What kind of training models do they have, so that you have information to make a good choice. Mm-hmm. Would I personally want you to go to EXP? Of course I would. I think that's the best option because of the long-term play, the ability for you to get out of real estate and still have an income, the ability for you to end your career in real estate and still have an appreciating asset, which is the stock that you can acquire in the company. But that doesn't always have to be the number one reason. Keller Williams has a great program that they have. Individual agents come on board. Individual brokers have great training modules that they have. Individual teams have great maybe social media teams or whatever that gives them value to what you're going to do. What I do suggest, if you're a new realtor, if you're new in business, is that you get a mentor, is that you go out and talk to somebody about what it is that you want to do. Somebody who can help you set goals, somebody who can help you stay accountable, somebody who can guide you in the direction that you want to go. And that's kind of like what we're trying to do on our show, right? We're trying to bring you people of all facets in every level of business. We might we brought a kid on that's barely starting his life, right? Graduating high school and going out there and starting life, because every single experience that we can come across is another experience you can learn from. And there are experiences that happened when you were 18 that you've completely forgotten about mm-hmm. because it was so long ago.
Yep.
So if we bring people on the show at different skill levels, that's just a little bit more information that you can reflect on, that you can benefit from. All right,
just
long rant.
Yeah, that's all good, man. That's who was it? I think Eric yesterday was talking about your rants yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, he goes on rants. I love it when he does it.
Every once in a while, right?
Yeah. Gotta do it.
Gotta do it, dude. Gotta do it. So that was last night's event. Well, that was a little bit about last night's event.
Yeah, with Rick and Driven Wealth Management.
Yeah.
Lots of fun there.
Lots of fun.
And, to kind of add to that, one of the greatest things that, driving away from there, we had Renee, our camera guy, with us. And he was like, man, I've never even thought about a lot of these things. I've never, nobody has ever taught a lot of the majority, not a lot of the public does not have some of that basic information. There's so much lacking in financial literacy, financial knowledge, that you are lucky enough to be teaching your students.
Yeah. Well, but think about that. I mean, the fact that you said that, like Renee was in the car and he was telling us, man, he heard some of the questions I was asking, and he said something. He's like, dude, you're so smart. Like, all these things. And I'm like, well, you the way what you said the other day when we were in the car talking about that, like, I sound smart because I'm talking about the one thing that I've been studying for the last 15 years, mm-hmm. right? So it's something that I am knowledgeable in. So of course, when I speak about something that I'm passionate about, something that I've educated in, of course I'm going to sound smart in it, right? But everybody out there, all of you have something that you're passionate about, something that you've been learning about. It could be something like being a mom, right? Some people some parents dedicate their lives to being the best parent out there.
Right.
And they're really good at that. You have coaches out there for sports. All they do is maybe they coach baseball and they're the best baseball coach. And if you ask them a baseball question, they're going to sound super smart in that too. So every single one of us brings something to the table. Right? Just because I talk about money and it's something that most people use and don't understand doesn't make me a genius. It just means I studied it a long time. Right. And so, you know, I don't like the when you discount yourself as not being knowledgeable or not being smart just because you don't speak a specific language. Right. And I'm not talking about English, Spanish, you know, Portuguese, that sort of stuff. I'm talking about like if
taxes is a language, insurance is a language,
right.
Real estate is a language, and each one of these different, you know, industries, each one of these different fields
have a lexicon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so just because you don't speak that language doesn't make you dumb, right? No. And not at all. It just means you don't speak that language, and you need to increase your vocabulary, learn a little bit more, so that you can talk about it, right? You ever study quantum physics?
Only to make conversation.
That's funny, but that's kind of the conversation we were having last night, right? Where I'm telling Renee, you don't have to become an expert in taxes. You don't have to become an expert in, you know, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, taxes, none of that stuff. You don't have to become an expert in it. But what you do need to do is take some time out of your schedule to learn a little bit about it, so that when you are talking about it, you can hold a conversation. You understand what the words mean. Like if I was going to go to Japan and I just got dropped in, right? Okay, poof, I'm in Japan. I would be so lost. I would not know how to ask for anything at all, right? Because I don't speak the language. But if I knew I was going to be put in Japan and I knew I was going to be there for a certain amount of time, I would at least take the time to learn a few words to help me navigate through the process. Konnichiwa.
You know, starting.
Right? Hi. Right? So little things like that, but that take you from knowing nothing to kind of being able to navigate. And then the more time you spend there, now you can communicate. Yep. And that's the pathway that we need to go on. If you're going to just start your path in sales, or you're going to start your path in business, you don't know what's going on yet. And you don't know because you don't understand, because you don't speak the language yet. But as you develop your skills, as you grow as an individual, as you practice whatever it is that you're doing, the consistency in doing it on a regular basis is going to take you to the next level. Consistency has been like the word of the day.
It really has. I mean, we were over there talking to Pancho, and we were, you know, having that exact discussion about everything that we've been doing. Over 200 episodes now that we've done, you know, sticking to the daily routine. And, you know, I'm the first one to admit, man, if it was up to me, we would have fallen off a long time ago.
Right? Well, I mean, it's like today. Like, we had an event we wanted to go to, and we tried to get it done. Things kind of messed up, and we're committed to this podcast, right? We're committed to doing this. So the choice was record the content or go to the event. And like, well, we've committed. We've made a promise to our listeners. We made a promise to, you know, everybody that has supported us through this process, that we're going to put out content on a daily basis. And this is one of those things that I, you know, when I talk about consistency to people, and I tell them, no matter what you do, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's dieting, whether it's doing the podcast on a daily basis, whether it's prospecting, you're going to have good days, amazing days, and you're going to have bad days. When we started the podcast, even today, we can have a podcast that sucks. An episode that just, no matter what I try to do, the content just didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I was stuttering. I couldn't think of a question, whatever it could be,
we
right?
Maybe have had one of those,
right?
You know,
or technical difficulties, whatever it is.
Technical, that's always,
all those things happen. So you're not going to have a perfect day every single day, but keep at it anyways. It's the consistency factor that's going to help you improve. You're going to get better at speaking. You're going to feel more comfortable in front of the camera. You're going to get better at asking the questions. You're going to get better at listening. You're going to get better at interviewing, objection handling, whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis. It's really a matter of staying consistent.
Right.
Follow one course until successful, right? Focus. If you just do it on a regular basis, you're going to see real quick the ums and the
and the rights.
And the rights. Those, you know, if you, for those of you who don't know, in our very early episodes, I would listen to the podcast every day. So we would record the content. The next morning I would play it because it comes out at 5 a.m, and I would listen to the content again to make sure, what did I do good? What did I suck at? I should have said this. I could have done this. And I would play it in the morning, and my kids would listen to it too. And so the kids would give us their 2 cents. They're like saying, "Dad, you say a lot." Dude,
Thanks,
James
kid.
says "okay" a lot. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we decided, we grabbed a little jar with a bunch of quarters, and every time we would catch each other on it, we'd drop a quarter, right? So if you listen to those podcasts, they're probably not very good per se. I mean, we have a lot of good content in some of them, but our speaking, our rants, our communication, our grammar, our enunciation, like all these different things that have gotten better over time, they weren't very good at that point. But we kept at it anyways. We kept doing it every day. We were recording a podcast episode every single day. We would listen to the content, make sure we were fixing it, making it better. We got advice from people who came on the show to help us bring in things like cameras, so now you can see what's going on. They advised us on different types of equipment. They advised us on the way that we should talk to our guests, how we should book our guests.
And we talked about this on Booze Over Business today. What did we do differently?
What? Execute.
We listened.
We listened, and we took action.
Yep.
Because that's really the biggest thing. You can take all the coaching you want. You can listen to all the experts. You can read all the books. You can study. But if you don't take action, if you just study the whole time, you're going to suffer from paralysis of analysis. Nothing's going to happen because knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. You still have to take the action to execute what you've learned to see if you actually can do what you thought you learned. It's like it's in the classroom. One of those things that's kind of weird is I can show you how to solve this math problem.
I thought you were going to say the world.
The world. I can show you the world. Right? No, so I can show you a math problem. I'll put it up on the overhead projector on the board or whatever, and I'll walk through all the steps, and you'll take notes and you'll follow the steps, right? And then I'm going to give you a problem, and you're going to maybe work your way through and solve the problem, and you're going to think you understand it until I tell you to teach somebody who doesn't know it. And when you try to teach somebody something, you really quickly realize what you know and what you don't know, right? And that's in the implementation process. And
wait, so do you actually do that with your students? Do you force them to each one teach one?
I try from time to time. I don't do it as much. I do.
What's
more
your success rate with that?
With the
each one teach one.
Each one teach one?
I feel like that's. Honestly, I feel like that's the best way to do it because I know where you were going with that, where once you are able to teach someone, you know for a fact that you have the material, you understand it.
Right. And it really does work if you have buy-in for them to do the teach one. Right? Because remember, I have 17-year-old kids. So if I go, okay, ready, teach them, then it becomes a conversation. Not necessarily about the topic that we're talking about, right?
Sure.
So in theory, yes, that's the way it works. If you have a group of students that actually want to learn, when you go and try to teach somebody what it is that you learned, that's when you truly understand how much you retained of what you thought you learned, right? And so implementation is vital. You have to take action. And if you can set yourself to a pattern to do it on a regular basis, you're going to get better. I've talked to a lot of realtors lately, and one of the big things I've been asking just to hear what they have to say is, what are you doing to prospect? Right? And everybody's going to have their own idea of what they're doing to prospect. Some of them are going to, I'm going to call for sale by owners. Some of them are going to call expired. Some of them are going to do social media marketing. Some of them are going to do open house. Some are going to do door knocking. And what I tend to hear is, well, I do a little bit of this, and then I do this on the side, and then I do this over here. And so they're all over the place with what they're working on, what they're trying to do when it comes to prospecting, rather than just focusing on the one thing that they're probably good at. If they're good face-to-face, then maybe they should be doing door knocking, or maybe they should be doing open houses. Get in front of a client so that you're face-to-face, if that's your strength. If your strength is over the phone, then maybe you are calling for sale by owners, or maybe you are calling expireds. Maybe you're good on camera. And so maybe it's Instagram engagement. Everybody has a strength. You just got to identify what their strength is.
And I mean, along with that is the social media like piece, the social media actual marketing piece of it. Being on camera is one thing, but like actually marketing yourself. So it's interesting that you start bringing that up, because that's definitely something that I've been thinking about recently, is about teams, is getting people. I mean, you mentioned getting the students to buy into the Teach One, and we're talking about how each person has different strengths and different things that they bring to the table. And it's a matter of bringing all of those strengths together to form a really powerful team. And that's definitely something that's been on my mind lately. And I know that that's that's really where we want to take all of our businesses, in a direction where everybody that we bring on board, everybody that comes into our fold, I don't even want to say that we bring on board, because we're not necessarily bringing anybody on board. We're just bringing people together. We're co-creating with, other people, and it becomes this team, and everybody's strengths, each one lift one, right? Everybody uplifts each other.
Yeah. And it's funny because we were talking about that today with over there, the university club, right? Yep. Where oftentimes, especially in a Latin culture, we have the crabs in the bucket analogy, where, one crab is trying to get out of the bucket and the other crabs are pulling them down, right? Who do you think you are? You're becoming successful. Who do you think you are? You know what I mean? And that's kind of the mentality of what we have in that culture. And what we're trying to develop is using the same crabs in a bucket analogy, but the other way around. One crab is coming up out of the bucket, and instead of being pulled down, he's pulling the other crabs up, right? And that's the mentality. That's the paradigm shift that we're trying to bring to people. Is we are crabs in a bucket, and we could be pulling each other down, or we could be pulling each other up. Yep. Right. And that's where the value comes in. That's why our podcast is doing what it's doing. That's why our listeners are listening to the stuff that they're doing. That's why the people that we're working with are becoming more and more successful, because they're not trying to pull down from everybody. They're trying to find win-win scenarios. They're trying to find out situations where where everybody in the scenario wins. Yep. Where we're pulling each other out of the bucket, not pulling each other into the bucket.
Yep. And setting up for further success generations on.
Exactly.
Man, I'm telling you, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut about this project, because I'm really excited about it. Uplifting the Hispanic community specifically. Like, I just feel like it's obviously resonating with me, right? I mean, but but no, I'm just really excited about this project, and really can't wait to get it started and talk more and more and more about it, more openly,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and here's the thing. It's also the way we're going to be doing this is by developing and implementing, recording, distributing more content, right? Because let's face it, we're in that kind of world. Today I was having a conversation, after the podcast with Francisco, and I was telling him about how I see what we're trying to do with the podcast, where I see this going, and how I've bought in like 100% in the assumption that the next real estate boom is in audience, right? Is in creating an audience.
That's a quote right there. The next real estate boom is an audience.
I don't think, and I didn't make that up. I'm buying into the Gary Vee model, really. So I can't take credit for
no originality.
No, yeah, I have no original thoughts in my head. But
we never claim any originality.
No, I don't claim originality. But that's the next boom. That's the idea, the concept that I've bought into. So if the next real estate boom is an audience, I need to be doing things that bring more of an audience to our Business Bros brand, right? And so what I'm doing is trying to find ways to bring you guys value, or at the same time, bring you something that strikes an emotional chord, right? So if I do something really well, or if I record something that is inspiring, or is that is motivational, that is uplifting, that is a win-win scenario for people, it will naturally be a piece of content that will have more exposure, that will bring more of an audience. So the way I win in generating an audience for Business Bros, to make Business Bros more of a brand, is by bringing you valuable content, to give you the emotional stroke or the ego that you need to help you succeed. This is where providing value and being of service to others is our primary function. Because I mean, I think we said this on the podcast. I don't know if it's before or after, but guys, we made $0
on the podcast.
On the podcast. The podcast makes zero money.
None.
Will we make money outside the podcast because of the connections we've made with people on the show? Absolutely. For sure. Will we ever monetize this particular feed? Probably not. I don't know.
I don't want to say guaranteed no, but
you know what it is once we build an audience, once we provided enough value for you, once we've given you so much stuff, you're going to feel guilty that you haven't given back. It's true. That's my intention in how much we want to give. I want to give so much to you guys that eventually you're going to be like, damn, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Right? And it could be anything.
And we definitely have people that have asked stuff like that, like we have had guests, or prior to them actually being guests, they're like, well, what can we do for you? Or especially even after a great interview, which, by the way, you always give great interviews. They'll be like, well, what can we do to help you? How can we help you? And that's when we start talking about stuff like shoes. And that's when we start talking about stuff like real estate. And that's when we start talking about stuff like insurance. There are ways that you can help. Send us your insurance business. Give me a call, 619-884-0045. I almost did it.
Yeah, see,
yeah. But those are ways that we can profit, I guess, a little bit. We can make a little bit of revenue based on what we do here. But as far as coming onto the show, as of yet, we're not charging anybody. There's no reason to.
For the show.
It's all about expanding your network.
Yes. The value that you've brought us so far is just being able to share your story. It's just being able to connect with you, is to have that one-on-one time. Like, I honestly feel everyone who has come on the show that we've talked to, we've spoken to, we have a unique bond, a great relationship. If I see you in the street, it's no longer a handshake, it's a hug, right? When we walk away, it's a hug. Like, we've made this connection with people. And that none of that wouldn't have happened without just giving you a place where you can tell your story.
Absolutely true. And it's been really great to walk into some places like the ARIA convention or event that was happening today, and see people that we recognize that have been on the show, and see people that recognize us that haven't been on the show that are just fans. Like, that's honestly one of the coolest feelings. Warms my heart. And yeah, thank you to everybody who has been listening and supporting us.
By the way, a little selfish plug. Help me out. I did a really ridiculous music video. So awesome. Help me out. Share it. Send it to a friend. Tell them to share it. Let's just use my embarrassment, my silliness to your benefit, and laugh with some people. I really appreciate it. That'll help me out.
There you go.
That'll be fun, right? It's something to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, quick reminder: 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year. 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. Hit him up. He'll go over there with his Harley, pick up the shoes, and if you ever have any insurance need, you can contact him the same way. And that's about it, right?
That's it.
If you're EXP curious, if you're wondering what this whole EXP thing is about, you can get stock in the company. You have a way to develop an investment strategy right in the brokerage that you're at. You're never going to build a brokerage that you can really, really, truly sell off. So if you're thinking, I've been in this business for so long and I need a way out, other than, any other normal investment strategy, let me know. I can share a lot of different opportunities that are in part of this brokerage and at least make an informed decision. You can text 123-EXP to 31996 and I'll send you a 7-minute video, and then, we can chat and just, I'll answer your questions. No pressure either way. I just want to make sure you make an informed decision. You're going to keep hearing EXP. You're going to hear it not just from me, from all the people around you. You're going to wish you would have heard the opportunity, because when it does swoop in, when Netflix takes over and Blockbuster's going away, you're going to wish you would have done it. So better to make an informed decision today than regret not having made the educated decision tomorrow.
Yeah, like the Google AdWords that we talked about on Booze Over Business.
Right.
Today.
I should have invested in more Google AdWords when I had the opportunity, when it was easy, when it was cheap, when it was inexpensive.
Yep.
I didn't know any better. Regret.
Yep.
Right? You don't want to have that same regret. Learn what you can and really sit and think about it. And if you're still happy where you're at, great. More power to you. But at least you've thought about it.
There you go.
So text 123-EXP to 31996. Or hit me up, hernan@csfirst.com or 619-884-4915. And we can have a little chat. Maybe have lunch. Because, hey, we all got to eat.
That's right.
So I love to eat with one of you guys. Let me know. Follow us on our social media pages at Business Bros Pod. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And I'm out. Bye, the Facebook.
The Facebook.
Yeah.
We love you.
The best advice?
Facebook.
Drop the. Just Facebook.
Whatever, man. I still call it the Facebook.
The Facebook.
All right. See you, Facebook. Appreciate
guys.
you. Love you.